Despite winning the Senate, the Republican Party still has a major decision to make. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and I hope everyone is having a phenomenal day. I'm certainly having a great day myself, and before I get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Again, these are all great ways to support the daily content, but enough of the promotional stuff, let's get into it because the Republican Party just retook the Senate. And even though it's a big victory, there are still many question marks surrounding this majority, and the biggest question is, who will be the majority leader? And I would argue that this is much bigger than the election because whoever the majority leader is, they're going to effectively decide what passes or not in the Senate. That's why it's a pretty big deal, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, but despite Donald Trump having a big victory, getting a clear mandate to do whatever the hell he wants, there's a chance that the Republican Party picks an even worse majority leader than Mitch McConnell. Yes, I said it. That's how bad Senate Republicans can be. But there is a chance that we get someone worth a damn in the position. Now, for those that don't know, there are effectively three main candidates: John Thune, John Cornyn, and of course, Rick Scott. Of the three, I really believe Rick Scott is the best. Now, I know people are going to say, but in 2022, he kind of screwed us over, with some of the funding for candidates. I'm not denying that, but Rick Scott on the issues is way better than John Thune, and especially John Cornyn. Like, John Cornyn makes Mitch McConnell look good. Yeah, John Cornyn's worse than McConnell. John Thune, you could argue, is just a lateral. Like, okay, it's still crap, but at least it's the same thing. Like, pre-2020 Mitch McConnell. That's what you're getting in John Thune. John Cornyn is even worse than that. For crying out loud, he's an anti-gun Republican in Texas. That is not a misquote. He's an anti-gun Republican in the state of Texas. That's how bad John Cornyn really is. He sucks, he's incompetent, he should be nowhere near the position. And the fact that we're even considering John Cornyn should tell you everything about this majority that the Republican Party has. And this is why I believe that Donald Trump and his surrogates, they have to get behind Rick Scott. You cannot afford John Thune, or God help us all if we get John Cornyn. Because if you get one of those two idiots in that position, all that's going to happen in Trump's second term is John Thune or John Cornyn, they're just going to argue with Trump every single day and stop any of his agenda from passing. That's why you cannot have John Thune or John Cornyn running the show, because they will be the Paul Ryan of the second term. They will screw Trump over, they will make backroom deals with Democrats, and it screws Trump over at the end of the day. So nothing he wants done actually passes. That's why Rick Scott has to be the majority leader. And I believe that at least some of Trump's surrogates, it looks like they're leaning towards Rick Scott. Like, for example, RFK, he put out this statement just yesterday, and he said, without Rick Scott, the entire Trump reform agenda is wobbly. And he's not wrong. Because, again, Rick Scott is not perfect. He said some stuff in the past that is dumb, and at times he can be incompetent. But the majority of the time on the issues, he's good. He understands what the Republican base wants, what they need. And if we get Rick Scott as the majority leader, he's not going to be perfect. I'm not saying that at all. But at the bare minimum, he's not going to be hostile towards Trump. He's going to understand what he wants passed. He's going to understand, okay, this is what we need to get through immediately. We cannot piss around with God knows what for 5 years or whatever, and then that's it. Rick Scott understands that. And it seems like people like Kennedy and even Elon Musk, it looks like they support Trump. In fact, Elon Musk put out this poll today, and right now, 66% of people want Rick Scott as majority leader. Yeah, I know Twitter isn't everything, but it's clear. The grassroots wants Rick Scott. They don't want John Thune. They don't want John Cornyn. Of the three options, the majority of people want Rick Scott. The fact that Elon Musk and Kennedy are posting about this makes me confident that, at the bare minimum, Trump has people around him that want Rick Scott. And Trump put out this statement earlier today, and he said, any Republican senator seeking the leadership position in the United States Senate must agree to recess appointments in the Senate, without which we will not be able to get people confirmed in a timely manner. Sometimes the votes could take 2 years or more. This is what they did 4 years ago, and we cannot let it happen again. We need positions filled immediately. Additionally, no judges should be approved during this period of time because the Democrats are looking to ram through their judges as Republicans fight over leadership. This is not acceptable. Thank you. And Rick Scott put out a genius statement. He said, I 100% agree. I will do whatever it takes to get your nominations through as quickly as possible. I don't believe Thune or John Cornyn has said anything about this. Yet Rick Scott, in what was a very smart move, he put out this statement saying, hey, we're going to get your nominations through ASAP. We're not going to piss around and wait 5 years. We're going to get it done right away. You notice how Thune and John Cornyn, I don't think have said anything yet? That should tell you everything about those two idiots. They would never do that. They might claim now that, oh, we're actually gonna do what Trump wants. But the fact that they're not saying anything yet, meanwhile, Rick Scott's actually saying, you know what? We're gonna do exactly what you want. You have a mandate. We are gonna get your appointments through ASAP. We're not gonna piss around. We're gonna get it done right away. This was very smart by Rick Scott. And this is why I believe that Rick Scott is the favorite to become the majority leader. He's getting a bunch of support from the grassroots, from surrogates like RFK, from Elon Musk, it looks like. And the betting markets right now, and I know betting markets aren't everything, they believe that Rick Scott's the favorite. And not only that, but we're getting senators like Marco Rubio, Ron Johnson. They're saying, we want Rick Scott as the majority leader. Yeah, he is getting big names backing him like Johnson, like Rubio. There's a couple other ones that have publicly said they want Rick Scott. So it looks like Rick Scott's in a good position to become the majority leader. Now, I want to be clear that this doesn't mean it's a foregone conclusion that Rick Scott will be the majority leader. I'm not saying that at all. But I do believe that there's a possibility where Trump actually backs Rick Scott. And I know that sounds crazy because there was an Axios article posted like a week ago that said, oh, Trump does not like Rick Scott. He's not going to support him whatsoever. And that might have been true, but then John Thune went on CNBC and said the dumbest thing you could have possibly said. Now, mind you, this is right after Trump carried nearly every single Republican over the hump on Tuesday. Every single Republican should be thanking Trump. They should be saying thank you. You saved us. If it wasn't for you winning the popular vote, making states like New Jersey, California, Illinois, Texas more Republican, we probably don't even have a House majority, let alone a Senate majority. And this bozo John Thune, who wants to be the majority leader, who's supposedly going to work with Trump, he said this.
Is President-elect Trump involved in, does he have a chosen preference in the Senate? Do you know, Senator? And will that come into play?
I don't know that he does. I'm staying in regular contact with him and with his team. And, you know, obviously, if he wants to, he could exert a considerable amount of influence on that. But honestly, I think my preference would be, and I think it's probably in his best interest to stay out of that. These Senate secret.
In his best interest to stay out of it. That's what Thune said on national TV. Not some anonymous source that said that's what he said. No, he went on CNBC and said that. Why? Are you that arrogant that you just say, oh, Trump should stay out of it for his own sake? Why? Donald Trump is the leader of the Republican Party. He can do whatever the hell he wants. The American people gave him a mandate to actually push his agenda through. Yet John Thune said, no, he should stay out of it. I insist. It's for his own sake. Huh? Wait, hold up. I thought you wanted to work with Trump. Yet you're telling him to stay out of the Senate leadership race? Why? It sounds like you don't want Trump involved, and you're not going to work with him. Makes you really wonder why would you say this? And what is John Thune's real intentions? At least John Cornyn hasn't said anything like this as of now. John Thune is just going to national TV saying, yeah, Donald Trump should stay out of the Senate Majority Leader race. Why? Why are you the one to say he has no right to be involved? Who's the one that just won the presidency? Who's the one that carried Bernie Moreno, Tim Sheehy, David McCormick over the top? Who's the one that saved House Republicans? Who? Donald Trump, the first Republican since Bush to win the popular vote. And now, in 2028 and beyond, there are states like New Jersey, Illinois, Minnesota that could be competitive because of him. Yet you're going to say he has no right to say who he wants? He could say whatever the hell he wants. He's earned it. He saved this party from dying. But that's John Thune for you. That's what I'm trying to tell people. He would be Mitch McConnell 2.0. The arrogance from this guy is unbelievable. And this is why I really believe Trump might just endorse Rick Scott. And there's a bunch of reasons. Like I said, it looks like Trump surrogates like RFK and even Elon Musk, it looks like they want Rick Scott. And now Rick Scott's announcing to the world, hey, whatever Trump wants, I will do. I will pass it as quickly as possible. And now he's putting out statements like this. The American people have given Republicans a clear mandate. Turn our economy around. Secure the border, keep our country safe, and make America great again. Yeah, he's the only one to say this. I mean, he's the only one that understands. This election on Tuesday was such a bloodbath for Democrats, especially against Harris. Trump won a mandate to do whatever the hell he wants. He's the reason Republicans even have a Senate majority right now. It's a mandate to turn this country around. John Thune and John Cornyn, meanwhile, they have said nothing like this. And I guarantee you, if John Thune or, God help us all, John Cornyn gets the position, I guarantee you that those idiots would work with Chuck Schumer for some bipartisan crap. I guarantee you they would pass the bipartisan border bill. Stuff like that would get forced through. That's why you cannot have John Thune or John Cornyn in that position. They would do bipartisanship with crap policy. Rick Scott understands they had the leverage. The Republican Party was given a mandate to do whatever they want. And they have to. If they want to win in 2026, they have to do what they promised. Secure the border. Turn the economy around. Make America great again. This is good stuff by Rick Scott. He's the only one to understand this. Of the ones running, he's the only one to understand this. Now, there is one X-factor at play here that could upend everything. For those that don't know, there's some people talking about, what if we pick none of these people? What if we don't pick Rick Scott, John Cornyn, or John Thune? What if we picked JD Vance as the Senate Majority Leader? Now, people are going to say, but wait, he's the Vice President. He will be the Vice President come January 20th. But why would you pick him as the Senate Majority Leader? You can't. Well, actually, you can. People have looked into it, and apparently, John Adams, when he was the Vice President, was the Senate Majority Leader. Now, this was in the 1700s. This was 200 years ago. But JD Vance could technically be the Senate Majority Leader. And I believe this makes perfect sense. If we can't get Rick Scott, what if we just put Vance in the position? You know for a fact Vance will help with Trump's agenda. Obviously, he's going to be pro-Trump. He's going to get through his agenda. Whatever he wants, he'll pass it. And he is the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. It would make perfect sense. And on top of that, it would make JD Vance actually useful outside of tie-breaking votes. It gives him a real purpose. He can help craft legislation in the Senate. So if Rick Scott does not become the majority leader, I believe JD Vance should be in the position. I know it's very unlikely, but think about it. If JD Vance is the majority leader, he's not only the tie-breaking vote, but he's actually going to be able to control what passes, what gets voted on. It's a big deal. So we'll see what happens, because it's very unlikely Vance becomes the majority leader. I get it. But there are two possible outcomes here that are good. We either get Rick Scott or JD Vance. If we get one of those two, I'm happy. But we cannot get John Cornyn or John Thune. We cannot afford one of those two. So contact your senators and tell them, do not support these two. We want Rick Scott, or as a compromise, just make JD Vance the Senate Majority Leader. It's unlikely, but I would much rather have Vance or Scott than Thune or Cornyn. We'll see what happens, but it does look like a lot of people, they don't want Cornyn, they don't want Thune, they want Rick Scott, or even JD Vance. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.